Very good morning, and how are you doing post-Valentine's? Are you okay? Everything okay? Check your pulse. You breathing? You okay? Hyperventilating? It's all good. Karibuni sana. Welcome to another Tuesday right here on Daybreak. And first of all, we'll start with the apologies from CJ. Amesema he made his way. It's the thought that counts. He was on the way, but the people coming back from men's conference on men block. So anyway, he's not gonna make it today. But here today, I am with a bevy of beauties. Bazuna Warembo. So we have Bobby, Roberta, how are you doing?
Wagwan.
Uko sawa?
Good morning.
Good morning, how are you?
Unafilaje leo?
Leo niko sawa.
Hata mimi nafeel leo. Jana nilirest. Niko fresh. Ready.
Fresh.
This is when my week is starting. So I feel good.
Yeah, that's what should happen. We should start our weeks on Tuesday.
Man.
Hello, government. Just, wink, wink. Weka kwa manifesto. Shaz, how are you?
Mzuri sana.
Yeah?
Na wewe?
Hata mimi niko mzuri sana.
Siku yako imeanza mzuri.
Imeanza mzuri sana. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Shatta boy.
Wagwan.
Habari ya. Uko vipi?
Nice. I'm reporting live from the men's conference. Saidi Mkombero session eating imeisha. Session ya kukula Mkombero tumemaliza saa hii. Tunarudi session ya kuambiwa vile utakuwa unazima simu.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Aya. Nduko sawa, tuwakilisha sana. Chukua notes.
Kabisa.
Very good. So, Shatta is going to be joining us via Zoom. Zoom on Skype. Via Zoom. Aya basi itakuwa tena sana. Well, today we want to talk about something, and I thought about this yesterday because everybody was celebrating, not everybody, most people were celebrating Valentine's, and I just thought, wait a minute, about if people don't have no Valentine, it doesn't mean that they don't feel love, want love. First of all, what is their relationship with yourself? And then as I was doing research, I read somewhere, so I don't know if, and both of you will help me out, I don't know if it was somebody just, being a motivational speaker, because I said, you can be married, but still single.
Miles Monroe?
I think it was Miles Monroe. Yeah. Miles Monroe, who said it is a single person and a single person coming together to make a whole.
Yes.
So you have to be comfortable in your singleness. So today we want to talk about being single and what that means, because it sometimes people try to make it look like it is it's a curse, like it is not to be spoken of. Hauna mutu ni mbaya. But then again, sometimes it's even best waki tu hapo utulie na wewe mwenyewe, because it's crazy out here. So we'll start with Shatta boy today akiwa huko hivyo akiwa pale hivyo kwa men's conference. Shatta, why do you think there is such what do I call it? Watu wanasema ni kama ni kitu mbaya yani kuwa single in this day and age. People make it look like that.
Well, vizuri umesema ni people.
Yes.
Unajua, most people that will start saying that ni watu wenyewe hawajijui. Mtu hajawahi take time akajifind a person that can date themselves first. I keep saying how to give what you don't have. First of all, you must learn to love yourself. You must learn to enjoy your own company, for you to be able to share your company with other people and for people to enjoy that company with you. So wale watu sema being single is something wrong, ni watu hawajawahi take time ya kujijua kwanza. So yeye akiwa peke yake anafikiria yako na deficiency pale, hayuko complete. So anashangaa wewe pia uko incomplete. Hajui wewe unaweza kumake time ukajifind ukajijua ukajua mimi I enjoy my company. I can go by myself, coffee nijifundishe kizungu. Unajua ukienda kujibaia coffee unajiambia you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Kidogo ndo mtu kuwa na mtu you know how to speak. That's thing. Napata?
Yeah.
So mostly hao watu wanasema hivyo ni watu hawajawahi take time kujijua hata hao. They don't enjoy their own company. So when they see you doing it, they think you're pretending or they think you're miserable.
All right. So Shaz, how important is it to just kind of know yourself before, you jump in? And what does being single mean anyway? Is it kutokuwa na mtu ama kujijua?
That's interesting, because knowing yourself, I think, first of all, is a journey you're on for the rest of your life. It's not something you just figure out in the moment. every single relationship you go through has helped you get to know who you are even more, even the relationships that don't work. So when you choose to be single, it means you've understood right now in your life you need time to pause, reflect, and figure out everything you've been through. You take the time to just say, I don't need anyone else's energy inside of mine because I haven't figured out what my energy is all about right now. And choosing to be single, I think, is also beautiful because you say, right now, I might not have the capability to fulfill somebody else because a relationship is a place I should go to give. It's not a place I go to get. And that's what everyone does right now in relationships. You have enough people who are in a relationship that are single. Single doesn't mean lonely. That's the first thing. And there's so much pressure put on people with, how old are you? Oh my God, you better hurry up. Do you have children yet? Oh my God, you better hurry up. The church, religion, family, everyone puts pressure on people to feel if you're focusing on life because of how generations have changed, career matters, taking time out to just figure out who you are, and figure out means I don't know yet. I'm just trying to figure that out at this phase in my life. That's okay. So you're not lonely. There are enough people in relationships right now that are super lonely, but they're doing it because the stigma is if you're seen to be in a relationship, you're successful, and being single isn't. But I think if you're single and you're choosing, let me work on different aspects of my life. Let me start to grow mentally. How can I do that? How can I grow emotionally? How can I grow spiritually? Right. How can I give to friends? How can I give to people around me? How can I be of service to people at work? It doesn't mean that relationships are the only place you go and you flourish and you give. And I feel getting to know yourself means you have to be so comfortable with alone time. And people run from alone time. They're scared of it. I don't know, it's like it's so dark. You don't know what you would find inside of you, but then you want to go be with somebody else who's going to see all these things inside of you that you've not worked out, and you expect them to handle it, you expect them to be perfect through it, but then you can't do it yourself.
Right.
So I feel being single doesn't equate to loneliness. I feel being single means I'm going to take the time out to figure out who I am, to choose the kind of person I'd ever want to be with. But right now, I'm going to choose me. I'm going to grow with me. The love, the energy, the purpose I'd have for someone else, I'm going to put that inside my energy, my space. And then when I meet somebody, we'll learn how to complement each other. Because people mistake thinking that if you're in a relationship, someone's going to come and they're going to complete you. So being single means you're broken or you're incomplete. Right. The other person never completes you. The other person actually brings out more triggers inside of you, so both of you can learn how to heal through that relationship. This whole theory of I'll just find myself and then you find yourself, and when we come together we're perfectly whole. You're not perfectly whole. You're going to break each other in ways and learn how to build each other all over again. So take the time right now while you're single to do stuff you might want to enjoy that you will not be able to do when you're in a relationship. Because relationship means commitment, it means sacrifice, it means compromise. So think about, am I willing to even be that person in a relationship right now? So do I just choose me and choose me in a healthy way? Because maybe I'll waste somebody's time if I choose to be with them, and I don't want to do that.
Well, that really then takes I think you really need to know yourself a lot for you to get to that point. And Bobby, you talk about that a lot, knowing yourself. But it also seems, and that's the question that I'm even asking, why are people so scared of, I think also Coach said about loneliness. Is it because they're afraid of being lonely? Is it societal pressure? Oh, there's the question up there. Why do you think people are scared of being single? You can also let us know. SMS is 22422 and the hashtag is Daybreak. Why? Mumeogopa. What are they afraid of? Does it mean that maybe you'll get to go through your demons alone? Or what do you think?
Definitely. Unajua ukiwa peke yako, that's when it's needed that you have to deal with a lot of things that you're going through. And there's so many demons in your head, there's so many things going on in your mind that they might be very scary to go through when you're alone. And for as long as I can remember, actually growing up as a lady, as a woman, I'd say that most of us are very, very socialized to think about relationships and marriage type situations. So even as we're younger, you know, the women in your life, your mom, your aunties, your nini, the things they kind of say is you know, you have to learn to cook so you can make sure you know how to cook for your husband. Kaa vizuri wanawake wakangi hivyo wanaume, oh, your husband. So by the time I was becoming a teenager, I just knew it's the default process. You finish school, you start dating someone, then eventually you get married, etc. Then I grew up and I realized, oh, kumbe si must. Kumbe I don't have to follow any of those processes and formulas. I can just do my own thing. And as someone who was in, I'm going to call them relationships for now, who was in back-to-back relationships, nikitoka relationship, nenge relationship, I'd say I was very, very scared to be lonely because I feel like there's like a stigma that comes with you being single, and people a lot of times equate you being single to you being lonely and alone and failing and nobody wants to be with you because and all that thing. But you start to realize that when you're single is that when you have the time to actually create so much for yourself and for your life, and you have so much time to learn and just be better and do better, so that by the time you decide to be with someone and be in a relationship, it's a bit easier. So I'd say people are scared to be single because they think it's going to make them lonely, and they're also scared of just having to deal with so many things that you'll have to deal with when you're on your own. Because sale uko na company ama uko around many people, it's very easy for you to push things at the back and not to deal with things in real time. So yeah, other than being socialized like that, ata tukigrow up kalongolongo, sijui cha mama, cha baba, sijui nini. Most of our games and most of the things we did was so much revolving around relationships. And even in the social circles we hang out, even right now, most of my friends are dating, they're in relationships. So ukiwa wewe ndio hauna mtu, it's almost uta will, so nobody bothers to invite you to come through when they're doing couple stuff. So there's like a stigma, but I'm finding it the best and happiest time of my life. I don't know how to explain it, but it's just, everything is so easier. I'm getting to learn so much about myself that I think I would not have. Okay, I wouldn't know, but I haven't done it when I was in a relationship. So I'd say, tuache hiyo stigma na tuache ku equate singlehood to being lonely.
Right.
It does get lonely, but not to the point that being single is weird and crazy and nini. So I think people need to actually intentionally take time and be single for a while in their lives, especially if you're someone who gets into relationships back to back. You need to take that time. A year, 2 years, just take time, get to know yourself, love yourself, be with yourself.
Right. Shatta boy.
Yeah, man.
When it comes to the boy child, as much as watu waongelelei, pia wanaume wameogopa kukua peke yao. Why do you think this is so? Because like Bobby was saying, it's the same thing for, well, not the same, but slightly the same, because there's a lot of pressure even going up, because utambiwa pia wewe, you know you're going to have a wife one day, you see people, that's the natural progression. Kwanza before ikuwe CBC 844, get a degree, get a job, get a wife in no particular order. Wewe unaona vipi?
Number one, abo wa Roberta amesema akiwish mtu wake in quotes anniversary. So hapa ametupima.
Ati?
Ya Roberta akiwish mtu wake in quotes, mtu wake happy anniversary ama happy birthday mtu wake in quotes. So yuko si.
Shatta wewe.
Anyway, unajua watu wenye wanaogopa kuwa single, well, kuna wale, first of all, people get into relationships for different reasons. Kuna watu get into relationship you clip your bills. So if I'm not in this relationship, bills ndalipaje? Kuna people that go into relationships ndo walipiwe bills. Kuna mtu hajijui. Okay? Kuna mtu society imemwambia aje kuwa single ni failure. So ana define being in a relationship as success. Unapata huyu ni mtu anaendiwa ubombo ndio aonekane yako successful. Another thing, kama sisi tukigrow as men, like you're supposed to continue a generation. If you want to stay single, you will be considered either a failure, a misfit, ama mtu ajielewi. So what you do is you end up following that pressure, you end up in a relationship, yet we mwenyewe haujakuwa stable enough. Kwanza we mwenyewe kujisustain before you start sustaining another person.
Right.
I believe a relationship you should sometimes view yourself as a business. You remember when we were doing about a sole proprietor, that you sit down and ask, what are the advantages of being single? What are the disadvantages of being single? Of course, kuna zile vitu utamiss kama companionship sometimes. That sometimes you want just to talk to your person and feel, hata kama dunia inielewi, huyu mtu wangu atanielewa, that you don't have while being single. But also kuna advantages. You will sit down by yourself and say, let me treat myself today the way I want to be treated. Because how do you know how to be treated by other people if you don't know how to treat yourself first? You must sit down and realize this is how I want to be treated because I am treating myself like this. Then when I go out there, this is what I expect. And when I'm not getting this, I know this is disrespect. Unaelewa? Other than first of all, you might have two options. One, you over-expect from people. You go there, you want them to treat you like you can't treat yourself. That is over-expecting. Or you go there knowing this is my self-worth. Now let me add tax on it. But for men, bado hatuna otherwise. Until society badilike, iache kuona mtu ameona watu wengi ndio success. Kuna shida.
Inakuanga ngori sana kwa wanaume. But yeah, that's another thing that I find also, Shaz, because the journey of knowing yourself and learning yourself, it's something that men also don't talk about a lot. And especially when it comes to, again, society bringing you up where you are brought up to be a provider. So you want to give until you forget about yourself. So how do you kind of balance that as a man who is single and even learn to give to yourself? Because then you're asking yourself, okay, so I'm single, here I am, who am I going to spend my money on? What am I going to do? And all that kind of stuff.
Well, I think, first of all, when we talk about self-love, self-worth, self-confidence, it's naturally associated to a woman thing. It's like it's more women do it. But it's also men should practice self-love. And for men, it might not be the typical ways a woman does it. But for a man, it might be a great round of golf. I think the first place for a man to begin wanting to be in the singledom journey is to really choose the right friends to be around, first of all. Because you can be single and you can have all the friends that are out drinking and, in the wrong places. And then you think about where your life is going and where you spend time and who you associate yourselves to. And if you never feel that you're in the company of someone and you feel a little inadequate, like you can still grow. The people you surround yourself with are so knowledgeable, they're so great. They pull you to feel, I should learn, I should strive, I should grow. Those are the circles you should be in. So when men are choosing to be alone, they're choosing to be single, find good friends that you can do good things with, good friends you can travel with, good friends you can have great conversations with, good friends that you can mix with and build business ideas with. Again, good friends you can go for golf, for squash, for tennis, for great out with. But a lot of men feel, if I'm alone, then I still have to be very macho and I can't, sort of have emotion or feeling around being single. I think if you make a choice to be something in life, then you make a choice all over with everybody around you. So it's the people you'll surround yourself with that will pull you up or they pull you down.
Right.
But I also feel for men, it's choosing sometimes, if you're going to be single, to be able to go to places that you're not comfortable with, which is the vulnerability, which is courage to be vulnerable, which is to have conversations with people that will pull that out of you. I think there's a stigma when men say, I go for counseling, I go for therapy, I go for coaching, that's something wrong. I think everyone needs help because somebody outside of you can see how you can shift 2 millimeters that you can't see inside of you. So I feel it would be a beautiful place for men to start and not be saying it's a westernized thing to do. It's an investment in yourself. It's an investment in getting to know who you really are without being in a relationship, without being the typical provider, without being, you know, the son to your mother, the perfectionist to your father. Who are you when all of that noise is gone? Right. Who are you when you're not a son, when you're not a father, when you're not at work? You know, who's Willis just when he's in his own space doing his own thing? Right. And when you ask people, who are you? A lot of people, I'm
a journalist.
Right. But who are you as a spiritual being? Nobody goes into that space. Everyone thinks spirituality is just God. But spirituality it's your soul. It's getting to know an inner part of you, and that is self-discovery. It is self-love. It's thinking about, okay, I'm on earth to work and I have a worldly purpose, but what's my spiritual purpose? What's my soulful purpose? And then it's also to be able to question for men while they're single, or even for women. So, you know, when you're looking for a spouse, when you're looking for someone, and you're learning to get to know who you are, you put out energy, you know, in the field that says, as I'm working on me and I'm learning on me, I want to attract somebody that's working on who they are and learning who they are too, so that we come together to keep growing. Not we come together and I'm on this journey to grow and I have to keep pulling you along with me. But it's to be able to think, you know, like what Shatta said, you look for someone either financially, you look for someone physically. You know, physically you look great, I'm attracted to you, or you look for someone mentally. You know, you're wise, you're clever, you speak very well, you're in a profession that, you know, leaves me in awe. Or you transcend that and you look for someone who is emotionally grounded and connected, and you look for someone who's spiritually grounded and connected. Right. Now, the difference with the first three is that's chemistry. And chemistry you can have with anybody. Chemistry you can have with the waiter, you can have with your boss, you can have that with anyone that you see attractive or leaves you in awe. But to find someone that leaves you with compatibility, that's the last two. Because you'll begin with chemistry and you need chemistry, but to stay in a relationship, you need compatibility. And this is where people get lost. This is why you end up single. Because you go for chemistry, you're thinking chemistry is gonna last forever. It doesn't. You get lost. You'll break up. You think, let me spend a little time alone. But are you spending the time investing in figuring out, why am I single? Why am I choosing to be single? What happened in that relationship? As opposed to, okay, I'm single, I'll numb myself while I'm single, and then jump into the next relationship that I'm not aware of. They don't know who they are, I don't know who I am, and then we're confused why two people are confused in the relationship.
Right, yeah, so everybody is pulling on different sides because they have different notions of what the relationship is anyway.
And who they are.
They are, yeah, all right. And the other thing is people use single sometimes, I guess, to hide, Bobby, like they hide their fear of commitment, right? So, of course, mostly people talk about men's fear of commitment, but also I know females have fear of commitment. So what about somebody who's watching and they're single because they're afraid? They're afraid of getting hurt again. They're afraid of, what do they call it, putting all your eggs in one basket, so to speak. Yeah, what about that person?
Actually, it's a trauma response. And what happens with trauma responses is they trick your brain into thinking that it's a mechanism to protect you. But really, in life, there always has to be yin and yang. There always has to be balance. There always has to be compromise. There always has to exist the good side of things and the bad side of things. Your job is to flow and to live and to just flow through it. Your job is not to try and control things or to try and control sijui wacha nisiongeleshe Robata ndo asiniumize. It's very inevitable because the people who hurt you are just the people who are around you. A stranger isn't going to say something to hurt your feelings. Right. It's if your sister or your girlfriend or your friends or your brothers. So you have to be able to pinpoint if it's a trauma response or if it's a valid reason that you have and you're making intentionally for yourself. Because it's very different if I say, this season I just want to be single, I just want to get to know myself, and I'm really scared of relationships. Whatever happened to me the last 7 times, I'm not doing it the 8th time. So when you're able to pinpoint the differences between whether you're making a conscious decision to stay single and whether you're just afraid of being vulnerable again, that's when you're able to work on yourself because you can see the triggers. And ukiona ni trauma response, that makes it easier because now you can start working on yourself, because staying away from relationships is not going to prevent you from getting hurt. We're all needy. We're all needy in terms of love and validation, and just like Shatta said, saying uko single but una need tu mtu wako, una need mtu waku text tu acha kumwambia my day was fine, I'm having a, you know, I'm feeling good. And there's that loneliness that comes. Mimi speaking for the single people. It's very, very true, and it's very, very valid. Sometimes you just need to feel, you want to feel wanted and liked and loved, especially romantically. And when you don't have someone to do that for you and to feel that way with you, it can get lonely. But there's a very, very big difference between someone who's consciously deciding to stay single and someone who's scared. If you're scared, please usifikiri it'll last forever, but you have to be willing to work on yourself, because you can't be scared and at the same time say that you want commitment with someone else, because you're not going to be 100% committed. You're always going to look for the faults. You're always going to be scared because your brain is sending all this fight or flight responses where you always have to be on guard. You always have to make sure you're protecting yourself. That's why people start checking phones. Sijui nini. All that is extra and it's unnecessary. We're telling you to spend time with yourself and to take time to be single so that you can work on all these things. There's no rush. There's no hurry until you need a boyfriend by Valentine's ama sijui. Si mimi nilikuwa sawa jana, nilikaa tu peke yangu kwa nyumba na nikalala na niko tu sawa. So it's way, way better for you to be able to have worked on yourself and to love yourself enough to the point that you're able to see whereby there's triggers and there's things that you need to work on yourself. And when you're ready, you're just gonna be ready. So if you're scared to get into a relationship, start asking yourself questions like, why? Is it because, you know, PTSD-like symptoms? Maybe something you went through was very, very traumatizing and you need the time, you need the space, you need the healing, you need to talk to someone, you need to grow within yourself, you need all this time to do all these things. So while I'd say that it's very okay for you to feel the way you feel, and it's very valid, especially if you're coming from situations that have really, really broken you, it's very okay. But if you still want to be in situations where, in relationship situations, I'd say just take time and be very patient with yourself, be very kind to yourself, take time with yourself, work on yourself, pole pole too, and if you're willing to take this step, then it gets better. But then there's people who are choosing to stay stuck in the situations whereby they know very well they're scared, they know very well they have insecurities and trust issues. They're not going to be 100%, but they still take the time and the opportunity while they're in that situation to get into relationships with other people, which is very horrible because unaleta chaos yako yote kwa situation. Yeah, which is very unfair. Actually saw a meme that says, come healed, I didn't do anything to you. And that's how I feel. That's how I feel. Like Shazmin said, it's very difficult to be with someone who you have to pull, who you were vis-a-vis when you're with someone who is very aware and wants to work on themselves intentionally. Because hamkompletiani is just complementing each other and growing together and getting better together. So it's all about self-improvement. All these things just boil down to the individual. If you're willing to work on yourself, it gets better. Yeah. So
it gets, that's the hope that it gets better. Yeah, that's must be there. That's the underlying factor. It gets better. Shatta, we will talk about it here a lot before we go. I know we have some feedback, but before we go to the feedback, another thing, and I think Roberta has also mentioned it as well, is when we are alone, kama maboy child, hatupendi kuangalia deep sana. You know, you just want to be on the surface, and then, you know, like I said, you're programmed to provide. So wewe, hautaki kwenda hizo deep ati nijijue, ati hii ni trauma response, hii ni nini. So what would you say to a boy child who, again, they're now using number two, there's that one, number one, number two, is they're also men who've been hurt before, And so because they don't want to work on themselves, they use it as an excuse of the reason why I don't want to get in a relationship, the reason why I am in Nairobi with XYZ is because I don't want to be hurt again. What do you say to such a boy shout?
Unajua kwanza tuelewe, kuwa single pia, kuna watu magari tu nje. Sawa.
Ngoja, wall up selector. Rewind it from the top. Select connection yako imeflika hapo tena. Sema tena.
Niko poa sasa hivi?
Sasa uko sawa.
Niashindo sana.
Okay. Ngoja, let's give wacha ombea connection. Ukifikiria hiyo jibu, let me take a look at some feedback alafu tutarudi kwako na wewe. Anthony Khan anasema let's analyze soccer. Those in relationships envy those who are single when the game gets tougher. Those who are single think that those in relationships are successful in life, or when they blunder, they do not know how to play the game. Anthony with the soccer analogy. Gitz is watching all the way from Atlanta, Georgia. Says most people are scared of being single because their intentions of being in one in the first place is dependency and not actual love. All right. Kwabaj says being single is a choice, but for cowards and those who have had bad past, either players or womanizers, they can't trust other people because they have emotional incompatibility. So because you think mtu atakucheza ama wewe unacheza, unadhani utachezwa. Magi Kimani 15 says, I think people do not really understand that being single is the default. It means being whole, being free to be yourself before the other person invades, interesting choice of words, invades your life. If you constantly believe that you are somehow broken, then that's wrong. Raila TV, okay, says people are scared of being single because, number one, it will show that I am a failure. Number two, it will resonate to a billboard of weird questions of invocation. All right. Cruz Coach says different types of upbringing have a major impact on how a person will deal with relationships. We are all brought up with different life menus. That is why it is hard to find someone you can vibe with in an instant and keep it that way for the rest of it. Basically, somebody grew up different and you also grew up different for 20-something years, 30 years, and then now you're being told to come together. SMS as Enoch says, most people are scared of being single because of peer pressure and feel like people will consider them as unlovable or there's something wrong with them, my emphasis, and they want to do what people in relationships are doing. Dixon Joy, people are scared of being single because of peer pressure. You feel lonely when you see others showing love together. Kama jana, kila mtu alikuwa Noah's Ark, wawili. Here's one, you didn't leave your name. Being single shouldn't be a choice. It should be by accident or misfortune. It says, I am single because my wife departed from me. I'm sorry, but it's not an easy life. It requires more than you could have a woman. God didn't create us to be single. Everyone needs a helper because if you go into detail, you'll find that a man or a woman needs a helper. But sometimes we always think shallow when we are in life, but what of if you're not in good health and you're a woman or a man, and the only person you can be comfortable with is either a husband or wife and not a girlfriend or a boyfriend? Interesting dynamic there. When you lose somebody and also just recovering from that. We talked about grief last week. Sometimes it might take you a little bit more time to be ready for the next relationship. Beryl says, being single is okay. I know the pressure will be there from friends, and Shah says you have to have the right friends around you, but you know yourself and why you're single. Maybe your last relationship was toxic and ended badly, so you decided to take your time, know what you want, because at the end, not everything revolves around relationship. There are more to life than that. Being single gives you time to love yourself because you can't love someone if you can't love yourself. Hezron M, not all people fear being single. It's the decision they make. People decide to partner to avoid interference and simply to create a good environment to their... Okay, and to help manage the responsibility and to earn the respect that one deserves of around the society and that companionship. All right, I think being single gives one the opportunity to do things alone. If you associate yourself with others in any way, then you're not single. Shata, are you okay now? Okay, iko tujaribu, hebu jaribu ku pass across your points and see if single itakuwa strong. Sauti iko sawa. Sasa sijui kama tutakuwa tunara. Sauti iko sawa lakini signal ni mbaya. Hebu haya, go ahead.
Naweza anza kuimba kalale in the meantime.
Haya, anza.
Kitu nasema ni kuna single Because
Usijali. What you're going to do, Shatta, wacha tukupigie simu. We'll call you, cut a video, we'll call you, get the audio thing. Inakaa leo face card yako imedecline. We're going to get Shatta on phone in just a while. And it will become a phone link from a video link, so that's going to happen. But Shaz, you've seen some of the responses there. They are varied, and again, we talked about peer pressure. We talked about some just wanting to be single because of that. And then also, is there a time, because like you said, is there a time frame where, how do you know you're ready to be in a relationship? Because somebody that's talked about relationships in the past. Bobby has said, just get into one until now. She's taking the time. So help Bobby. When will she know she's ready? All right. And for other people as well, when do you know that, okay, I guess now I'm ready to be in a relationship?
A lot of the times, here's the thing. People think and have this fairy tale around a relationship. And the relationship will probably be that way for a while, for a few months, for a few weeks. And then people get tired of being in a relationship because expectation is not met anymore. And a lot of the times, expectation wasn't even met in the beginning. It's just you're so high on love, you're so high on feeling so great that you think everything about this person is perfect. They're on such a high pedestal for you. You assume all your expectations are met. You truly know when you're ready to be in a relationship when you're in one and it gets hard and two people decide we're going to make this work no matter what.
Right.
We're going to figure out ourselves as we consistently evolve, because I don't think there's ever a point where you say, okay, now I think I've done all the work.
All the work.
And I'm now 35.
Yes.
And now I'm ready
Let's
to do
this.
thing.
Yeah.
Relationships are the most uncertain place you can ever go. They're the scariest place. It will challenge you. It will tear you apart. It will force you to love. It will force you to, hate. It puts you through so many different kinds of emotions. A relationship that's ready to work means I take you for who you are, you take me for who I am. We don't know what parts of ourselves will show up at some points in this relationship, but we're committed to make sure that we'll work through it together. When your ugly shows up, I calm down and I'm there for you. When my ugly shows up, you calm down and you're there for me.
What does ugly look like?
Well, ugly means, I'm in a rant, I'm going through, so I always tell people when two grown-ups are screaming, shouting, or fighting, first of all, it's because you're not addressing the fear to the fight. So that's a whole different topic on why we even fight. Right. But it's your inner child that doesn't know how to have this kind of a conversation because it's so vulnerable to have. And so you display this childlike conflict behavior exactly with the other person because you learned it. When you were younger, the tantrum got affection, got love, it got calmed down. So you do it with the other person thinking that even if I didn't receive that in my childhood, you will do that. You'll parent me right now in this conflict and tantrum. So that's ugly. And it's just two inner children fighting each other, and that's why you don't resolve it like grown-ups. But you're never going to reach a point where you say, now I'm ready to be vulnerable, for someone to break my heart, for someone to probably not love me the way I want to be loved. That's the risk of love. But it's also the bravery and the vulnerability to say, if I'm going to love you, it means I will love you without trying to change you unless it's so we can grow beautifully. I'm not going to come into a relationship to remodel who you are completely. And I don't want you to do that for me. I want to come into a relationship and just be and discover who I am while I'm with you, discover who I am as I get older. And so there's never, even for Roberta, to be like, I'm done being single. It's been a year and a half. I think I can do this.
I got this.
It's how emotionally ready are you to understand what the relationship will bring, the disappointments it will bring, because it's going to bring them. Probably sometimes more than the highs until you learn how to do them better. And can I do it again? Can I be there for this person as opposed to me thinking, what am I coming here to get?
All right. Right, I mean, we have Shatta back, and he has a lot to say. So, Shatta.
Yeah, man.
Very good. That's much better. All right, tell us what you have been aching to say about, you know, and I'm sure you heard some of the feedback. Yeah, just give us your portion and you'll come and answer kusema. Can you hear me? Shata. Can you hear me now?
Today's not his day.
Leo si siku
yake.
Yes. All right, Bobby, then.
He's back?
Are you back, Shata? Well, okay. Atatushtua kirudi. So then, Bobby, that's the thing, you know, just like Shaz is saying, there's no like time for you to step in and say, all right, I'm ready to do it.
Let's go.
Let's go watch Let My Heart Be Broken again and stuff like that. But how important is it then when you are ready to have a conversation with that person that you're getting in a relationship with, that, okay, mimi even on nimepitia, even on ninataka ikue, na even nataka tuendelee?
Okay, how I do it with myself is when I'm getting to know someone, I just don't bombard them with all this information about what I expect, what I want, what I need, what... I try to just watch them be themselves. It's very important to me because I find that when you start explaining what you expect, it's very easy for someone who wants you to become the things that you've just given them. Like, si sawa, ukiniambia unataka mtu honest, mtu communicate, I'll do it for the first 3 months then. So I try to just watch people be themselves. I look at a lot for thoughtfulness and intentionality. And then as we're getting to know each other, it's very easy to see if this person is invested even in the friendship, in getting to know you, in caring for you, in just the little things. And then when the friendship has matured a bit is when now I'm able to communicate my expectations depending on where I see the situation going. And wase wengi sana uhepa hizi conversations because they're always scared about, you know, if she says what she wants, then maybe I don't make the cut anymore, or she'll notice I've been pretending the whole time, or I can't fake all that for too long, or I can't be what she wants me to be. But it's very important to have these conversations, and not in a way that, okay, leo, wacha tuongee juu ya expectations. No, these things come out in the most natural ways when you're just talking to someone. You could be talking about the simplest things about, let me give an example. At a Valentine's, tuseme mtu wangu angekuwa anataka flowers. So by the time jana ilikuwa inafika, if we've been talking for a while, I have the idea that they would like flowers on Valentine's Day. So it's just a little thoughtfulness and intentionality and things like that. And then they might have communicated their expectations. You know, I expect flowers, not in I expect flowers, no, in just that I like flowers. And you see, when you go all out for them in such thoughtfulness, such conversations come up in such scenarios. So it's a conversation that you have continuously as the relationship, as the friendship matures, because your needs and your wants keep changing. They keep evolving. They keep becoming something else. Na unaweza choka na vitu ulikuwa una require at some point. Ama hata wewe in your journey of self-growth, you get different needs. There's different needs that are going to come with different levels of your life. You're going to want different things for yourself. So it's very important that you keep having these conversations. Ndo easy dynamics zishinde zikienda ziki evolve with your growth with each other. So I'd say it's not just this conversation on what you expect in the relationship or in the situation. It's consistent communication, and iyo reply lazima tu ikue within the situation so that you guys understand each other better and you know what page you're on. Maybe I liked flowers last week, maybe this week I don't want flowers anymore. And it's okay because we keep changing and we're human beings and we keep changing the things that we need for ourselves. So these conversations, let communication be such a staple in your relationships and even with yourself. Like I saw a comment in the SMS, someone said, "Uwezi penda mtu kama hujipendi," which is very true because you're not going to be able to even tell what love looks like if you do not know what love looks like, even for yourself. So all these things, the way you talk to yourself, the way you treat yourself, like Shatta said, the way you love on yourself, the way you are with yourself, it manifests in all your relationships. So be exactly the person that you want so that you're able to attract the person that you want to be around you. This goes for friendships, for all kind of relationships, because now you kind of have an SI unit or like a benchmark for what you expect, how you expect to be treated, what you love, what you enjoy. You're able to set your boundaries in stone. You're able to be very confident in yourself and in your relationship. So I'd say these kind of conversations, have them all the time and as many times as you feel like. If something is different today, maybe unapenda kukula ugali, na this time hautaki ugali, communicate. We change, we're human beings. Communicate and make sure that you feel seen and heard and loved. That way you're going to be able to offer the same things that you're giving yourself and that you're expecting from other people. Yeah.
Mimi lakini napenda ugali through and through. Nani you never change, so people are saying
constant.
Make tumbo yangu uma kidogo.
Unashiba sana.
Unashiba sana with the ugali. Shatta, naambiwa sasa uko sawa, na kama hauko, I'll do this like a wedding. Speak now or forever hold your peace.
Bombo clan. Mukoriang.
Tuko poa.
Unaniget live and direct.
Sasa iko sawa, yes.
Kabisa. Sasa kuna kitu nilikuwa nasema kabla huyo shetani hajaingilia mtandao yangu. Kuna magaidi wengine wako huku nje. Mtu anajua ako single but anapata kila kitu. You know, first of all, let's not confuse being single and not getting intimacy and every other thing that is in a relationship. You can be single and still be getting these things out here. So, you tell yourself, if I'm getting the milk for free, why should I buy the cow? Unaona kuna watu kama hao?
Yes.
So unapata huyu mtu yeye hata yuko kwa relationship, but akitaka hii anapata. Akitaka hii anaendea. Sasa mtu kama huyo anaweza kukufanya wewe mwenye una believe in a relationship. Sasa wewe anakustring along. Because wewe sasa ndo anakutumiaga. Kuna watu wako hivyo, ndio maana nimewaita magaidi. Yeye kazi yake ni kutumia mtu. Their work is to use you. When they want this, they want affection, they come to you. Wewe, in the other hand, uko na hopes that you will be in a relationship. But the people that say are comfortable in singleness, in quotes, wengine wanatumiaga watu sana. Because they want this from you, they come, they get it. Now wewe unawapea because you are hoping that one day they will start showing affection, they will start loving you, you will be in a relationship. Have you seen such situations?
Yes.
Yes. So pia, wewe mwenye uko single, you need to know yourself. Kama uko comfortable in being single, do not string someone around. That is number one. Number two, hapo kwa messages, kuna watu walisema wengine kukua single walisema ni kuogopa commitment.
Yes.
Of course, hizo tushaongelea tukasema ni trauma. But pia ongeleeni watu wenye wako single in relationships. There are people that are in relationships but are single. You're not getting anything from that relationship, but you're sticking there, thinking that this person will change, this person will change. That can only happen to you if from day one you did not know what to expect from a relationship. If you know what to expect from a relationship, if you are not getting it from that relationship, it will be easy for you to walk away. But if you are in a relationship and you're the guinea pig, is when you're learning, actually in a relationship, am I supposed to be loved? Am I supposed to be taken care of? You are second guessing yourself. You don't know if these things are supposed to be happening to you and for you in that relationship. Before you enter into that relationship, you need to know what to expect from a relationship. Otherwise, if you do not know, you will go get exploited because you're giving your all to this relationship, to this person you're with. You're the one holding the relationship. Actually, there is a saying that says a person who cares less about a relationship holds the power of that relationship. Kuna mtu ajalingi hata yuko kupigia simu, hata yuko kuuliza kama umekula, lakini wewe ndo unashindanga hapo, babe, how was today? Are you warm? Ulikula? Wewe ushajuanga wewe kazi yako ni kumake relationship work. Hakuna siku utaja breathe huyu mwenzako atake part pia yeye to make relationship work. If right now you're listening and you're in such a relationship, you need to find a way out. You need to strategize a way of living. You're living with a terrorist. Huyo ni gaidi. Unaona, that is what I've been saying. You are a captive and that person you're living with is a captor. Kama they are not showing you affection. If you feel in this relationship, I am the only one putting in the effort, I'm the only one putting in the work, you need to get an exit plan from that relationship ASAP. Kwa sababu hii maisha ni fupi sana, wewe kuenda kulea mtu mwingine mzima na yeye akujali.
All right.
I hope shetani hajaingilia mtandao yangu.
No, hiyo sasa umekuja loud and clear. Hapo akuja kuwa na shetani. Kwanza uko leo kwa Mombasa.
Conference wale wamezulia TJ walikuwa wanaingilia mtandao yangu.
Uko Mombasani.
Nimekupata.
My Gini ziko mingi. All right, so you know, there are two things that he's brought up there that just maybe as we wind up, Charles,
yes.
I'd like you to talk about. He's mentioned in the beginning, I think you said that if you're in a relationship that you want to work, you can sit, you know, and talk about it. He's mentioned that if you're dealing with a terrorist, leave. So like, you know, especially if you're coming in and you have things in the past and you have had occasions like Bobby said where you've brought it up in subtle ways or in ways that the person can understand and they're not changing. Those people who are, like Shatta put it, are in relationships but they're single, what do? Because they've talked about it, they've brought it up as casually and as sometimes as candidly as Bobby talked about, but you know, they're not seeing anything. What do those people do? Those who are in relationships and single, and we're using single here because they're not getting the, you know, equal, they're not getting, what do you call it, reciprocation.
Yes. So you have a choice. First of all, you can leave if this person will not change and it's pushing you to be mentally, emotionally, feel like you're not stable, you are suicidal, but you love the person so much, you want it to work, you keep communicating, you try, but the cost of that relationship is the cost of you. You know, I hate divorce. I hate it. And I hate when couples reach that point, especially when one person cannot see in the relationship, this is where we're headed, and they refuse to work on it. And then the other person who sees this is where we're headed, but I'm so selfish, I'll keep choosing me because I've got so many other interests outside of you in the relationship. So it doesn't matter. If you leave me, I still have all these other options. So I feel for people like that, it's sadly crystal clear. There used to be a time when, you know, you didn't rush for divorce, you tried everything possible to make it work. And I feel even in some instances when, you know, you're in a place where, okay, look, I've tried everything I can, and for my survival, I need to get out. If at that point in that separation period, the other person recognizes, it's beautiful. They want to change. It's also very different when you're telling somebody, I'm holding all the weight, I'm exhausted in this relationship, and they can see it and they communicate back to you and they say, look, I'm going to change, I'm going to work on it. But sometimes people genuinely, they don't know how. This knowledge is not out there. No one is teaching you how to have better relationships. No one's talking to couples, really talking to couples before they get married, saying this is what you should expect. Not what to expect from the other person, what to really expect from the unionship. No one teaches people when things get down, when it gets rough, how to come back as a couple. So, you know, when it's ending up now in divorce because it's so much easier and people are leaving, it's different if I'm leaving because I tried, it's not working, it's not in my comfort zone, I'm going to walk, as opposed to I've really tried for a couple of years, this man or woman is not going to change. I have to choose me. I have no choice. And I feel in those situations it's okay. You know, it's fine to be able to do that. But I'm still someone that believes if you can get the help, if someone can talk to somebody, because I've sat with people that people say you cannot change him.
Right.
He will never get it.
Right.
And he does. But it takes a while. So look, if you're in a relationship right now and you want it to work and you put everything inside of it and the other person's not reciprocating, tell them.
Right.
I'm reaching the end of the line. I don't feel I have anything more to give because the relationship works with what you give me back and I use that as energy to give you back. Right now I'm dry. If the situation's not going to change, it's leaving me feeling like the only option is divorce. Is that what you want? Because if you're not going to change, I'm not staying for a 3-month change, and I'm not staying for a 3-day or 3-week change. I want to see what we're doing to make this work and have the other person commit to change with getting help. So then I feel that's very different to, hey, if he doesn't want it to work or she doesn't want it to work, you have no choice sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's no choice. We wanna
Inauma but.
Yeah, sawa. All right, Shatta, asante sana. Bobby, thank you so much. Shaz, as always, thank you so much. CJ in absentia, asante sana. Asante sana. Make sure you follow one Shatta boy, Shatta Tiki-Taka on the Twitter, Shatta_boy, and every single day, Monday to Friday, on Wax Tiki-Taka with Ann QT. So you can apenda kuitwa Ann. To QT on Radio Citizen. Make sure you follow Roberta Bobby on all platforms and also www.loveandorgasms.com. Listen to the podcast as well. Get the information. Follow the account on Instagram as well. And Shazmin, make sure you follow her as well on Instagram on all platforms. And also on Hot 96. Yes, this is on
every Monday.
Every Monday.
Yeah.
All right.
4 to 7, we have some hot conversations.
That's right. That is with Patrick Igunza, the street disciple, and the first officer Ben Suda. You are probably on Hot 96, so make sure you tune in. Listen, at the end of the day, mi husema hivi, katiba, kila mtu, you see the way Kenya has a constitution, everybody's life has a constitution. You can choose when to amend it, you can choose when to BBI your constitution or not, but at the end of the day, you're going to live with the decisions you make, so just make sure that it is worthwhile and that you're not the person who is with the shorter end of the rope or the stick. Yes, successful people look like you. Be kind to yourself. Peace and love, and don't live with terrorists. Wagwan.